I would like to live in peace and quiet. And I am certain that 99.9% of people want the same thing. They want to be left alone, they want to have a nice life, and do their part to make the world a better place. But unfortunately, there are just some really unwell people who are not able to process their emotions due to the fact that this device shows them things that they don't like in the larger world that we have no control over. But the panic that causes them, they want to lash out like a 5-year-old, and they want to do so in a violent way, which is ridiculous. So anyway, this got started when I watched a video from AsmonGold. I like his stuff. I respect his viewpoints and his perspectives. We align on a fair amount of things. But anyway, this is about threats to Elon Musk. And anyway, let's watch this because this is ridiculous.
Handling the chainsaw of bureaucracy comes with a price. Elon told Rogan the left wants him dead.
These are real enemies.
Like, I think they actually want to kill me. And the reason I know, well, they say so online. You know,
yeah.
There's like Reddit forums where they don't just want to kill me, they want to desecrate my corpse.
Elon security details working overtime to keep him safe, so
It's
the left's
nuts.
taking out its anger on Tesla owners and dealerships. One lib suffering from Musk derangement.
Oh no, poor Elon. Well, I think that I don't know why you're trying to joke around with this.
He's talking to one of his live stream people who, voices the sentiment that, oh, you're a billionaire, oh, you're a super powerful politician, therefore you don't have any problems like the rest of us, which is pretty emblematic of what's happening in the world, of this constant othering. Oh, you're somebody I don't like, therefore you're not really a human. Your life really doesn't have much value. Oh, you're going to cause my life some discomfort or do things I don't want. Well, you're the enemy. Maybe I should just get rid of you. Not realizing that they've been programmed to have that reaction, to feel so disempowered that the only logical response is one of violence or threats of violence, terror, essentially. And so this is obviously affecting a very small percentage of people who are so unwell, but that are also so unhinged that they are the ones who are going to act out. And we're just going to see more and more of this. But anyway, let's keep going.
In a political movement, and you have a group of people that are actively cooperating with each other to collaborate to like kill the person, like that's a very big problem. Even if it's a political movement that you disagree with. And if you can't see that being a problem, if you can't see this happening, you can't see how this is bad, I don't know what to tell you. I really don't. Poor multi-billionaire so helpless. What do you think it's okay to do this? No, real quick. Do you think it's okay you post death threats on people or not?
There's that sentiment.
Is it okay to like how much money is it to where if you can post a death threat on somebody it's okay? How much? What's the amount? No, of course not. Not okay. Then why are you making light of it? Why are you trying to turn this into something, a situation that it's not? You're trying to invalidate this. So why would you do that? Like, this is what I was saying before about how these people lose the optics every time. No, it's not normal and reasonable to go on a Reddit thread and make these comments constantly about killing people. It's not fucking normal. Nobody thinks this shit's normal except for other weird fucks just like this. Account created today? I don't know about that. Yeah, you gotta dial this shit down, man. Yeah, like you really like. I mean, this shit like it's just not. He types something. Let me listen to this real quick. Because he's crying on Joe Rogan about it, but no one should get death threat. He's not crying on Joe Rogan about it. You don't like Elon Musk, and so you're saying he says this is what's happening to me. He goes on Joe Rogan to talk about his life, and then he talks about his life. You say he's crying about. Oh, come on, man, bro. Like, get real. Get real. He's talking about it. Yeah, like it's so weird, bro. So weird. Where do these people come from?
People absolutely need to learn how to process their emotions, to understand that feeling angry is completely, it's a completely valid and human experience. But if you don't have a positive or neutral way of processing that emotion, exercise, martial arts, creating art, anything that's positive for you, or at least neutral for the rest of people around you. If people don't exercise these abilities, and if you don't have one, definitely get one. But if people don't begin to really lean into processing emotions while also improving themselves and their capabilities to be able to go out into the world and make change in a positive, productive way that only helps other people, then we're just going to continue to devolve into these tribalistic warring monkeys of basically children, angry, upset, enraged, and infantilized children. This part of the world in the future is going to look very dark, while also the opposite will emerge. So the contrast is going to intensify, I believe. And so, yeah, what side are you on? Are you going to be the one who actually provides more light into the world, or are you just going to make things worse and worse and worse? And so we're seeing this happen, and unfortunately our media is incentivized to show us the worst of things. And that, unfortunately, will have an amplifying effect, because people who are already kind of gravitating towards doing negative things are going to see that and think like, oh, well, maybe that's an option. Maybe that's, and in fact, these people are getting attention and I'm not getting attention. So maybe I can do that. And maybe this is the thing to do. But they don't really understand how that is going to backfire in such a huge way. And it's actually just going to incentivize and accelerate the rise of a totalitarian state, regardless of who's in power, the left or the right. It doesn't matter. The endless march is towards an increase in authoritarianism.
Say anything.
You guys can get a better car if you can afford that car.
It's not up to you to say anything.
Like I said, I guess we have a difference of opinion.
Destruction of property is free speech. That's where we're at. That's horrible. And the weaponization of free speech is going to get more and more intense and ridiculous too.
Yes, that was a Palestinian flag strapped to the back of that guy's bike.
I'm sure the Palestinians really appreciate that. This retard going around making their movement feel like it's full of retards.
In a different incident outside of Boston, half a dozen charging stations were torched overnight.
He's kind of true.
And the suspects are still at
He's
large.
kind of right.
They got
On the West Coast, a radical lefty activist was charged with firebombing and shooting up a Tesla dealership.
Remember when the left loved Teslas? I don't get this.
On Tuesday, a man was arraigned after police linked him to two separate cases at the Salem Tesla.
They gotta round these people up. I'm gonna be honest. This is an insane level of derangement. And at the end of the day, like, we just can't have we can't have a society like this. This terrorism, it is. It's terrorism. It's straight up like, what the fuck is going on?
Well, regardless of this being labeled terrorism or anything like that, it's just vandalism and destruction of property. And we don't want to live in a world where that happens. I get it. There's examples of, extreme activists who are like, hey, let's not bulldoze, the Amazon rainforests. And so they go and they sabotage, construction equipment, bulldozers and things like that. I kind of get that. I kind of sympathize with that, and there's this kind of semi-sexy narrative where, oh, we're the rebels fighting the empire. So I get that perspective. I do. I understand it. I sympathize with it. But you're not going to build a better world by destroying things. Because if you take that approach, all that's going to be left is rubble. What have you built? What have you created? What have you grown that other people can go to? If you want a world that is just totally destroyed, then okay, great. Then go ahead and firebomb a Tesla station. Go ahead and off people who you don't like. If you think that that is the way to a better world, then take a deep breath and really think about that, and really think about a course correction.
How's this even happen? I don't know. Like, yeah, it's political, therefore it's terrorism. Yeah, it's taken over the whole region. Yeah. And the thing is that they've got to, here's what's going to happen. I'm going to tell you what's going to happen. Unless these people self-regulate, or there's like a degree of accountability for some of these bad actors, this situation will continue getting worse until the backlash on it will be a reduction in personal freedoms.
Exactly.
And that's what I'm afraid of.
Yep.
You think about what happened after 9/11. Not like this is anything like 9/11, but that's when we got the Patriot Act. That's what it was. And so I don't want to have a situation like this where more of my personal privacy, more of my personal liberties are put at risk because a couple of mentally ill Redditors want to draw on a Tesla.
Draw on a Tesla. I love that.
Happen. And I know it's going to happen. And it will happen if they keep doing this, because do you really think that these massively powerful, that these people believe are these psychopath, crazy, horrible people are just going to roll over and let you fuck them over? Of course they won't. This is bad. Yeah, they're speedrunning real ID on the internet. Do you think greater punishments for this behavior would happen before the restriction of general freedoms? I don't know. It depends on what the catalyst is. Yeah, this is bad. It is really bad.
Center. Police say these surveillance images from the dealership show Adam Matthew Lansky throwing Molotov cocktails at the dealership and sparking fires. Police also allege that on a separate occasion, Lansky fired several rounds into the dealership and at least one vehicle.
The left.
See, this is the kind of shift I'm talking about. Is that the radicalization that's happening online, this does bleed into real life. It does.
Oh, Jesus.
And I think that it's 100% terrorism. Yeah, I think that this kind of stuff really needs to be, like, they need to nip this in the bud because it's already gotten out of control.
So it's these machines. These machines are pretty impactful. If you took a human being, one of these radical activists, if you took them on a all expenses paid, retreat, in the middle of the wilderness, no technology, no news, no anything, no connection to the outside world, but there's people there meditating, doing yoga, some real bougie new age yoga stuff. But the point being, if you actually put them into the real world, what is real? Them just being a human being and just focusing on their body and quieting their mind. If you did that for a week or a month, well, what are they going to react to? There's nothing for them to react to. That's just kind of an example of the larger thing that's happening here, which is there are some people who really need to cultivate, the ability to regulate and self-regulate and calm the F down, regardless of what's going to happen, because the world's only going to get more and more intense. And if we do not pull ourselves together, but also pull together with other people of a like mind who want a better world, then it's just chaos. That's what's on the forecast for the future. And I don't like that at all. The point I really kind of wanted to make is so people are reacting to things they don't like. They're reacting emotionally and they have this outburst and they do something destructive. And so that's one aspect. The other aspect is that they don't have a better place to put that energy into building something. And so so that's actually what's needed. They need, and we as a population, we need something to focus our attention on and actually make that happen. And then to kind of put our blinders on and focus on that instead of being totally wrapped up in what the media is plugging into our heads. So if we don't have something bigger than ourselves to focus on, a brighter world, then just this devolution of human inability to process negative emotions and deal with stress of the outside world is going to escalate and erupt.
This is really bad.
Used to care about mass shootings, but
and everybody is going to lose their personal freedoms because these people will not self-regulate. I promise you that will happen. That will be the end goal. That will be the conclusion of this. Everybody loses their personal freedoms, and that's it. That sucks. It does.
they, them is pulling the trigger, crickets, but not from the DOJ. The feds are now handling that case. The department also charging Lucy Grace Nelson, a.k.a. Justin Thomas Nelson, a trans activist, for trying to plant a series of explosive devices at a Tesla dealership in Colorado after spray painting Nazi on the building. Lefties who once flocked to Tesla for a green future are now having a change of heart because of crazy libs harassing them. Quote, 2 weeks ago, I was called a Nazi in the parking lot at Kroger. I came home and I told my husband, that's it, I'm done.
Things have become so politicized, it's ridiculous. I kind of wish I had a Tesla just so that I could see the reaction that people would have for me driving around in the thing. I would like that in a way, unless it would result in, you know, the car being vandalized every other day.
The thing is also, like, what this is going to cause people to do is that this is kind of what happened with the, like, remember the MAGA hats? People would get, like, kind of negatively approached and negatively treated if they had a Trump hat on. And I think that all that really did is it just emboldened that group of people to be even more extreme and even more prevalent. They still do. Not like it used to be, though. Not like it used to be. And I think things have changed a lot. Lower trust society can be, yeah. Before Elon went crazy, what point did he go crazy? The point where he started disagreeing with those people.
Trying to preempt the protests. Quote, I'm so embarrassed to be seen in that car now, said one owner who got a bumper sticker that said, I bought this before Elon went crazy. And we're hearing reports that some owners are changing their cars' logos to avoid being targeted. This has become a dangerous and pretty disturbing trend that's now, I guess, not showing any signs of slowing down. Why won't the Democrats denounce?
It's a great question, and it rhymes with why the Democrats never really denounce or distance themselves from Antifa. It's the extreme factions of one's party or a group of people who align with a political party. Even if what they're doing is illegal, the party will be like, they won't say anything. Why? Because that extreme element of people who want to cause trouble are more or less aligned with them. And that is incredibly dangerous. Incredibly dangerous. And again, it's these idiots who think that violent means breaking windows, destroying things, hurting people, or threatening people. They think that that's doing something. It's literally not. You are ushering in totalitarianism. Stop being an idiot. Don't do that.
I don't know why. There's some people that like to engage in this intellectual dishonesty. That's not going to work here. Since when did the right ever denounce any of their extremists? I feel like a lot of people have acknowledged January 6th was bad, like if you want an example. And I think that, like, anytime there's like a white supremacist or somebody like that, and I'm not talking about a person that's white, I'm talking about an actual white supremacist. I think everybody denounces them. So yeah, it's the same argument again. Yeah, exactly. It's crazy. Without bringing one side into it, it's obvious if people are denouncing it or not. Yeah, it is. They're done for attacking Tesla. Doesn't Elon have a bunch of iRobots ready to go? Ooh, that's a good point. Yeah, there it is. And the right side is bad too. Shit is getting old. It is. And I think that nobody buys that anymore. And it's like but they do it too. That's not, I remember I used that argument in kindergarten. It's a child's argument.
Yeah, no, I think that's a good question. And it's a good point. I think that the right has moved on generally as far as the narrative to denouncing extremist right-wing groups. But the problem is there are some elements within the RNC within the Republican base who still hold those views. They're just very quiet. That's a problem. That's a big problem. It's been denounced, but I think it still exists. And to what degree it still exists, I have no idea. And I don't think we have any way of knowing that. It's not like we go out and poll people in red states or red counties, asking them how much of an extremist, racist bigot are you? Just like we don't go around polling people in blue states and say, how much of an extremist activist who is open to committing violence or threats of violence, how extreme are you? That doesn't happen. So this is dangerous for both sides, because it's this thing, this phenomenon that is contained in the shadows and the recesses. And so we can't even see it. So we really don't know how prevalent it is. But again, I go back to most people wanting to live peaceful, quiet lives. I really think it's a minority of people, although it's a growing minority of people who want to devolve to violence.
But anyway, I saw this, and these people basically are engaging in terrorism.
And chaos.
That is effectively like whenever you go and you're burning shit down like this right here, this is a terrorist. Like, I don't really see a big difference between somebody in ISIS and this guy. It's effectively, to me, pretty much the same fucking thing. Why is he big, though? I mean, it's a kind of a cool outfit, but, you know, like, we can't have people going and doing this. So, yeah, that's correct, yeah. And so, anyway, I do really hope these people get held accountable. And if they don't get held accountable, what's going to end up happening is that we're going to lose more personal freedoms. We're going to lose more opportunities. We're going to lose more anonymity. And I really think that the places where these people are getting radicalized on the internet are places like Reddit. They are. And if this doesn't get addressed, it's going to get really, really bad.
But this is not a battle. This is not a war. This concept of a culture war, it's being, I mean, it's there to a degree, but it is absolutely being blown out of proportion and escalated. And then there's people like Timcast, who he created a whole another subsection of his platform called the Culture Wars, which I think is absolutely foolish. I think it's important to talk about the problems around the culture war and what the culture war is doing, but ultimately to feed into it, to spend your time and energy to build that up is nonsense. It's a non-starter, because like I said, if you're just looking to fight, then what are you building? And don't tell me discourse. Don't tell me, oh, we're having a conversation. It's like, you can have a conversation about something, but not be completely consumed about a negative topic. You can talk about solutions, but then you can actually also put your energy into creating a solution to the problem. And that's a problem that I'm seeing happen a lot on the internet with podcasts and YouTube, is that people are just talking, and there are very few people who are enacting any kind of solution or putting their money where their mouth is, or doing something to actually build a better platform or a better foundation for something new, and genuinely creating, building bridges, but also building life rafts so that when things go down, you know, you as a successful individual are not just, able to weather the storm because you've got millions in the bank, but you've actually created a community of people that band together and are there to support one another, and also create seeds for a new world, a better way to live, and to provide that as an example to the rest of the world. That's just an idea that I would like to see happen, and that's actually something I'm very interested in doing it and participating in myself. So that's kind of what this is about, is to put myself out there and just to see what are the other like-minded people are out there who are interested in not just talking about solutions, but actually enacting them and what that might look like. But at any rate, this is an excellent video. by AsmonGold. It's a very serious issue, because it's kind of like we're looking at like the tiny little like spark, or the little match that's been thrown on kindling, where if this escalates, it could really explode and become very, very serious very, very quickly. It's going to progress regardless at this rate, and things are not going to look so good for, you know, the future stability of the country if both sides devolve, or if one side, in this case the left, devolves to the point where they think that violence is a tenable solution. It's not. At any rate, I thought that this was an excellent video. As usual, AsmonGold does a solid job at kind of balancing between left and right. You know, he, like many people, have kind of skewed more center right because they're making just a little bit more sense than the far left. And that's what I think the recent election has obviously been a response to. And I'm on neither side. Both sides are insane. And I'm interested in finding the common ground and the perspectives of both sides that can actually work together, and that we can integrate and put into a cohesive, coherent view or vision for the future. At any rate, that's just what I think, and I'm very interested in hearing back from you. So please comment, leave a like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.